You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Folks, Smirnoff. I love it. Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. It's a we thing, best enjoyed with good drinks and great company. Home or away, we rally together, cry together, and always rally cry together because there's no I in fandom. Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka, is perfect for easy, delicious cocktails for fans over 21. As the official vodka partner of the NFL, Smirnoff's award-winning taste has been igniting the collective spirit since 1864. Grab a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer and head to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff, #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age.
This episode is brought to you by Experian. Are you paying for subscriptions you don't use but can't find the time or energy to cancel them? Experian could cancel unwanted subscriptions for you, saving you an average of $270 per year and plenty of time. Download the Experian app. Results will vary. Not all subscriptions are eligible. Savings are not guaranteed. Paid membership with connected payment account required.
Jessica, I'm a little worried about the chaos of today. We're trying to send, Billy wants to very excitedly get out to his home school, and they've got a big announcement today. But we've been having all sorts of video and technical difficulties the last 3 days, and I just feel like things are elevated around here today. And then Billy's going to leave in the middle of the day, and we've missed him.
I need Billy to stay long enough to talk about the pole vaulter. So,
Ooh, Mondo?
Which pole vaulter? There are two famous pole vaulters right now, are there not?
No, yesterday was Mondo's day, Dan. You sound silly. Yeah. You sound like a silly goose right now.
The other pole vaulter, old news.
Okay, so the guy who failed because his penis crushed his Olympic dreams. Old news already?
Old news.
Yep, had his day.
So this new guy, what's his story?
Billy, tell us about him.
So his name's Mondo. He's the world record holder. He went to LSU, was competing for Sweden, and he was born in Lafayette, Louisiana, which I said, how did that happen? I found out his mother is Swedish, so I was like, it's like the World Baseball Classic. You just get to choose where you're going to compete. So I started doing a little digging, and then I read up, I believe, unless I misread, he chose Sweden over the U.S. because Sweden agreed to let his dad be his coach. And he's the world record holder. Which, by the way, bad job, America. The best guy in the history of the world at an event, and you're choosing not to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. No, well, he's
really good, though.
He spends half his time in Lafayette, Louisiana. He went to LSU. He spends half his time in Lafayette, Louisiana, half his time in Sweden, depending on when the weather is good for training. Guys just training all year long. Oh, I love pole vaulting. I forgot about my love for pole vaulting until yesterday when I was watching. I was like, oh, that used to be me. Not like that, obviously. I wasn't a world record holder or anything, but... Oh, that rush, the way you see him go over the bar, the form.
You fell in love all over again with pole vaulting?
It relit my spark, and I said, you know what? I miss this. And my wife said, you're never doing that again. And I said, yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Crushing dreams over here.
Sometimes you need to see something to be reminded just how much it meant to you, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's what has happened yesterday, but I'm not in the best shape, and it's a dangerous sport. It can be dangerous.
I'm here for a book of Stugotz's wisdoms like that one, when he goes deep into the life philosophy tree and just talks about gratitude and appreciation. Sometimes you have to be reminded. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Greg Cody,
well said.
Do you have any thoughts on pole vaulting?
I have nothing but thoughts on pole vaulting. Does the pole ever snap?
Oh, yeah, it happens. It snaps.
Because what's it made out of, fiberglass?
Yeah, well, carbon fiber also depends.
So if it snaps, doesn't it send potentially deadly shards and
shrapnel?
Potentially deadly... Potentially, I suppose. It also, by the way, when it snaps, like the reverb or whatever, it's hard. Like it'll bruise your hands.
Wow. What was your best vault?
You want meters or
no?
Or
let's
pretend. Well, this is what you have on pole vaulting. Your thoughts, all of your thoughts on pole vaulting are questions for Billy. All right, let's just start the show. Greg Cody's not ready. Let's start the show. It's the perfect time to start.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Today's episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Greg, I don't know what you think we do here on Tuesdays exactly, besides promote all of the things that you have, a podcast and now a book we're going to be promoting today. So I don't know what you think we do, but just generally speaking, if before the show we're wandering around as people who have done this for 20 years and you squawk at some point, fraud Swede.
Yeah.
So when I think, oh, Cody's got something on pole vaulting, and so then I go to you when the show starts, and what happens? You ask Billy a question.
Right.
Yeah.
He's the only former pole vaulter among us.
I know,
Expert,
but
yeah.
you had a strong opinion. You had a strong opinion that I'm still waiting for after you said you have a ton to talk about on pole vaulting.
Yeah. Mondo. Billy, answer me this. Is Mondo
another question?
Is Mondo a Swedish citizen?
If he spends half his time in Sweden, half his time in U.S., I would assume so. I think you'd have to be a citizen to compete for the country.
I don't know about that.
Okay. Well.
But he was born in the U.S., is that correct? He was born in the U.S. So I don't like this where guys are born in a certain country and they're playing a sport for another country.
No,
it's ridiculous. It's absurd.
They shouldn't be allowed. Mondo should
This is your Olympic take now, guys?
You heard of Joel Embiid?
Yeah, I don't think you're aware of how much that actually hurts the U.S. more.
Okay. I'm going to look this up right now.
Okay, this is going to be a bit of a gauntlet
Hold on,
today.
he's looking it up.
I've got two people here.
I did nothing.
But the two of you are aggressively ignorant, anti sort of
immigration.
Okay, I take it back. He does have dual citizenship.
But he's got paperwork.
Well, that changes everything.
That changes everything,
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I still think he should be made to relinquish his medal, but
relinquish his medal?
He's more legit than I thought he was.
Why should he have to relinquish his medal?
Well, he was born in the United States.
Yeah, it's weird.
So Greg Cody gets to decide what citizenship you have, what nationality you are.
Yeah, you got to draw the line.
Okay.
You know, my grandmother was born in Canada. It doesn't make me Canadian.
Sports are where you will find all sorts of things in politics. Just know that's the America of the future if somebody wins. Just know that, yes, I get to decide who everybody's nationality
Greg
is.
gets to decide.
That's right.
Me maximum.
No, yes, me maximum is going to be president of the United States.
I'm just saying the Olympics began as country versus country. So it's the U.S. athletes versus the Swedish athletes.
I just want to be clear on something, Stugotz, because I don't want to make these games geopolitical. They have been blessedly free of any sort of free-ish. Free-ish.
You have 35 athletes from Belarus, I believe, in Russia, who are competing on a team that's been described as not a team.
All right. You know what? You are correct. We will find any manner of malfeasance here that we can wrap a number of flags in. Sports absolutely does that. But to have these two guys in here as the aging demo on what it is the Olympics should be during what feels like some of the best Olympics we've had since blank. Like so that
84.
That it's been a while, for whatever reason, that America has felt like it gathered around a television set to care about pole vaulters. It's been more than a decade.
Yeah, well, the last Olympics was swallowed by the pandemic, and the 20 games were actually played in 21. So I think we were predisposed to love anything that was actually taking place on time in front of huge crowds, let alone in a cinematic, gorgeous setting of Paris. So, but I agree with you. I think it's been a wonderful games.
Well, there's no disagreement to be had on that. Like, there's somehow consensus about, like, you'll dislike things here and there and argue about things here and there, but you can find wonderful stories. Look, man, it's the best of sports in little cubes. Like, they're giving you nonstop stimuli. Mike Ryan yelled at me as we're starting the show, Patty Mills is going off.
International Patty Mills is a problem. Might be a basketball Hall of Famer.
He's
when
a
this
different
is all said
player.
and done.
You're right.
They're up 20 on Serbia right now in the quarterfinal. This is a big upset for Australia.
Put it on the poll. Is International Patty Mills a basketball Hall of Famer at Batard Show?
Everyone gets in, Dan.
Which other athletes, Greg, should not be allowed to compete for the country that they live in, partially or full time? Just so we know, clearly which, what your stance is here.
Decisions this momentous have to be vetted and researched. I would need to be given a list, but basically, you should be competing for the country of your birth or the country of your first citizenship, in my opinion.
So if you leave a country because they have like an oppressive regime and you immigrate somewhere else, you should have to go back to that country if you want
Just
to
be
in the
clear.
Olympics?
No, I think that's an exception to the rule.
Okay, so the rule.
Well said,
Well,
yes.
it's good that you. So you think you should change the rules,
Right.
but basically, you think you should change the rules, me maximum, so you get to decide what an American is.
Well, to the best of my knowledge, Sweden does not have an oppressive government or nation. I could be wrong. I'm going to have to talk to my Swedish friends to determine that, but I don't think
So
that
it's by country then? You get to choose by country, like.
But it is
this
you
country good,
choosing.
this country bad.
it is you
somebody
choosing.
said I'm happy to be the commissioner of the Olympics.
The athlete themselves needs to be born in a certain country. It can't be the parents.
Greg is just saying when he watches the Olympics, he wants to know that he's watching Americans. When he's watching Team USA, he wants to know they're all from the United
This
States
is
of America.
really-
Under Greg's rules,
that's what
like,
Greg is
U.S.
saying.
soccer
That's
has
all.
no shot.
Yikes.
I
We've
can't
got
believe
no
what's
shot with your
happening
rules.
around me. You're
all he's
focused.
saying.
We should change the subject.
I have a question, Greg. So, like, I
thought we could do this as spoof. They're not
Well, hold
playing
on.
the game correctly.
I heard him workshop in a Biles take. Let's just go away from the gymnastics entirely.
I think the big story with Mondo, by the way, is the fact that he wants his dad to be the coach. This guy is very good. He's top of the line, right? Top shelf at what he does.
He's a mercenary.
record.
He's
So
a
he's the best.
mercenary.
Well, yes.
Did you hear Billy's part of the story? The only reason that he's winning, identifying the way he is because he negotiated his dad as coach.
I know, and that's a terrible
If I
job
read
by
the
the
internet
United
right.
States of America. Like, if Michael Jordan wants his dad to coach, you and I once said, if it takes Maverick Carter coaching the Heat to get LeBron James, we would allow that. We would want that. And if this guy wants his dad to be his coach, you're the United States, you let his dad be the coach. I mean,
I think both of his parents coach him per the broadcast yesterday because his dad was a pole vaulting champion and his mother was a heptathlete.
yeah.
Guys, can I just warn everybody, as Marlon Humphrey is learning, there is a whole different aggregation algo when it comes to the Olympics. If you guys decide to do show around Olympics, I don't think you're fully aware of what you're stepping into.
I think our Sweden numbers could go up, to be perfectly honest, good or bad. Like, if they're going to listen to us to hate us, the Swedes, you're welcome to, because we need to up those numbers.
I believe that we need to feed off the hate. I miss feeding off the hate. I don't want to be scared of being aggregated unfairly in the misinformation age. But I want to descend a little deeper into where it is Stugotz and Cody might be taking us as men who are going to decide for all of us who gets to be American. I want to play on this third rail for a minute because they don't realize how it is that they sound, and I want to make them alert to it, but also play with it a little bit because of how absurd it is what they're saying.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I almost did something yesterday and then I thought, no, this is mean. I'm not going to do it. And that was, I saw Stugotz's take about Simone Biles and it was starting to pick up some engagement traction on social media. And I thought, if I retweet this, it might cross over to either gymnastics Twitter or women's sports Twitter. And then he'll start getting some real hate. Like, I think Dan probably wants me to do this. But then I thought, no, I don't want to do this to Stugotz. Some people, don't know Stugotz is doing a shtick, although who knows if that's a shtick or not. I mean, we'll never find out.
Whoa, wait a minute.
So I didn't do it.
Penalty box for you.
What?
2
What?
minutes.
Penalty box for caring too much.
To think.
High
I was
sticking.
worried for what would happen to him.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for lying.
Lying about the idea that might have been a shtick Stugotz was doing yesterday. He absolutely believes that Simone Biles needs to be better. That's not shtick he's doing.
We got the high sticking joke, so it's a win all around.
All that matters.
In Greg's defense, I feel like Greg's argument really is everyone should compete for America. Not people shouldn't compete for America because they're not American. I think Greg's argument is everyone's American, so they should all compete for America.
And to make clear, when I said that Mondo should have to relinquish his medal, that was before I learned that he did have dual citizenship. Okay? If you're not a citizen of the nation, you should not be allowed to compete for that nation in the Olympics. It doesn't apply to anything else. Well, it applies to international competition. It applies to world championships and everything. Certainly doesn't apply to, teams and leagues. But more power to Mondo. Has a Swedish mom, that kind of thing.
You called him a fake Swede. More power to Mondo. You called him a fake Swede.
A feed.
He's a fake Swede in the sense that he was born in this country, went to LSU. Talk about it. You try a Swedish accent out at LSU, and they'll run you out of town.
Put it on the poll. Are there any Swedish accents at LSU at Le Batard Show? I can't believe that we.
It depends on who Brian Kelly is recruiting.
Yeah. No doubt.
I can't believe that we.
Borky 4-star.
Are the show that descends into age so poorly that Stugotz is trending for ripping Simone Biles.
Ripping?
Yeah.
All I said was stick the landing. I said she's the greatest gymnast we've ever seen. I love her. She's awesome.
Yeah, she
great. Did not deserve to win the vault. Did you see the balance beam last night?
What a nightmare.
She fell off. She didn't win the gold. You need to stay on. The only girl who stayed on, I think it was the Brazilian. She won the gold because she stayed on the beam.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, do you realize the amount of power and momentum that Simone Biles puts forth on the vault?
I do.
So you're asking for her to stick the landing?
I didn't rip her. I watched a sporting event, and I said I thought someone else should have won. What's the big deal?
That was yesterday's take. Very strong. I appreciate your efforts. It's not shtick. It is not. This is who this man is.
Man.
This is who this man is. He thinks Simone Biles needs to be better. I want that to end up in USA Gymnastics Twitter.
A lot has changed over the years, audience. As you've been so kind in pointing out, my shirt size has changed over the years. Look, I started this show as a 19-year-old boy, and now I'm a 38-year-old dad. But along the way, one staple of my life has been Miller Lite, and those of you that have been listening to us know this. I've been a Miller Lite guy since day one. I've been pretty honest about that. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What is the best thing about the original light beer Miller Lite? It sparked this debate way back in 1975, and we still haven't settled it. For me, it's the undebatable quality. It's great taste, and it's less filling. Whether you're out with your friends, at a game, at a bar, in the shower, Miller Lite delivers Miller time every time. You don't have to choose what's best about Miller Lite. It has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
Dan Le Batard.
That's how it's going to end. The mailing it in end of the retirement, Chris, go get me this, is just going to be him coming out and hitting the one or two notes of that kind of thing, and you know it, and then just giving us finger guns and leaving.
Baby.
You should listen to the Greg Cody Show podcast because that's all we do for 55 minutes a week is just say catchphrases. We even make songs about them. And you know it is a song. For crying out loud. That's great. Hopefully that's a Suey nominee for Best Song. And you know it, baby, and you know it.
Stugotz.
And you know it, baby, and you know it. Is it? And you know it, baby, and you know it. Is it? And you know it, baby, and you know it.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I had a moment yesterday when watching the Olympics in prime time, which is like a re-air of what happened during the day. So we already like knew the results, but I hadn't seen it play out. And I felt almost un-American, and I didn't like it because America benefited from this, but I felt very bad for Romania, who did not benefit from this. And it was in the floor exercise where Jordan Childs, I guess they made a protest to go against it. Why don't you tell him then?
Can't do that.
Well, it's terrible. They awarded someone the bronze medal, and then they reviewed Jordan Childs' performance on the floor, and they gave her the bronze medal after announcing that someone else had won the bronze medal.
Can't do that.
Correct. She was, I believe, in 5th place at the time, and then there was a protest, and then they redid the scoring, and then all of a sudden she wins the bronze when there was a Romanian gymnast who thought that she had won the bronze and now has lost the medal. So America takes silver and bronze, and where it looked like the Jordan Childs was going to finish 5th.
Wait, what? I'm confused. What's her name? Because Stugotz called her something different.
Yes, he put a D in there.
Are you going former governor of Florida or former point guard for Knicks?
I'm not sure what happened. I'm just glad I knew the details around the floor exercise.
He's a big on gymnastics, guys.
Thank you, I am. I love gymnastics.
Yeah. He's glued to it. I mean, his takes may be questionable, but he's watching.
Lawton Charles.
Let me explain to the audience
Is that the
here.
guy that did a job different every day? Or that was Bob Graham or something?
Bob Graham.
I'll ask Billy Corbin when he's here.
Claude Kirk.
What Stugotz just did during that segment, swaggering, is something that represents the lowest the bar has ever been put in this medium. Because he got the name wrong, and what he sang in only my headphones after doing that little bit where he had 2 sentences of information, he sang in my ear, watching the games, Dan.
Yeah, well, I mean, is he? Because the Brazilian didn't even medal in the beam.
Not retaining the correct information, not watching. He didn't say watching the games correctly, Dan.
Just watching.
He's got a Brazilian winning a medal that you didn't win.
Watching the game.
Stugotz
in the
maybe
background.
lowering the bar, but Mondo, he kept raising the bar. Mondo. And oh my God, he pole vaulted over, I think it was what, Billy, like 20 feet,
20
6
feet,
inches or something like
yeah.
that. What is like I mean, Greg asked you this, but I'm genuinely curious. Like, what are most college pole vaulters clearing in competitions that you've been at? Because that seems unfathomable.
Well, I'm eliminated from the competition when anyone's close to that. I get out very early if I even cleared the opening height. I was not a good pole vaulter.
Well, I don't think that we have taken full advantage, and Jess and Greg have tried really hard for some reason to make you more of a pole vaulting authority than you're willing to accept.
Well, hold on, what is that supposed to mean? Well, you know what? Now thinking back, the last meet that and granted, I don't mean for this to sound as grandiose as it will. The last meet that I competed in was in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Wow.
At the University of Lafayette,
home of
Louisiana.
the fake Swede.
Right, home of Mondo.
And I'm wondering...
They just call themselves Louisiana right now.
I'm wondering... No, that's Monroe.
No, UL Monroe, Louisiana Raging Cajuns,
that's true.
They don't want to distinguish Lafayette anymore. They are the University of Louisiana.
At the time, they were proud of being Lafayette, which I guess they no longer are, which they should be because they're home of the greatest pole vaulter to ever live.
And Jake Delhomme.
Now, I'm wondering if a little young Mondo decided one day to go over to the Sun Belt Conference Outdoor Championship and be inspired by one Billy Gill pole vaulting. Yeah. Not to say that I inspired the greatest pole vaulter in the history of the world. I'm just saying it's possible that we crossed paths. He was a young lad at the time. I was wrapping up my career at the moment. It's very possible that a young Mondo was out there watching.
Very's doing a lot of work in that.
No, it's very possible. I mean, the University of Lafayette, Louisiana, if you're going to watch pole vaulting, would you not go to the Sun Belt Conference Outdoor Championships?
Billy, what month was it? Because he may have been in Sweden during that time of the year.
No, no. This was prime pole vaulting time.
It was good weather.
They were hosting the outdoor championships.
But were you winning?
Sweden.
Were you winning, or were
no?
Well, why would he be inspired by the guy finishing 12?
Well, just because he goes and he watched. No, it's first of all
12th.
I believe it was 7th. If we're gonna state accuracy, if journalism is still alive and well, let's report the facts. I believe. Excuse me.
7th place is the tin medal.
Congrats. No, that was 4th.
I would have settled for a tin medal.
4th, 7th.
Same.
At that point, you don't even distinguish.
Yeah.
You're
After second,
you're either top 3 or you're nowhere.
Aluminum.
Aluminum. But Billy,
Yes.
I've asked you several times, and you're evading the question. What was the tallest height that you scaled?
The best I cleared, I believe, was
in feet.
14.2.
Very nice.
So it was about 6 feet shy of the world record, which is just one human being.
The whole thing seems aggressive as an event. It seems a scary thing to do. That is not a small height. If you get it wrong, if the stick breaks, if you fall backwards, like a lot of bad things can happen at that height.
I missed the pads once. I landed in the metal box. Wasn't great.
You know what my fear would be?
Did you hear what he said at all there, or you wanted to just you just wanted to get to what you wanted to say?
No.
Because there seems to be more on that bone right there.
Okay.
Did you hear what he said?
Yeah, go ahead.
You've been asking him questions about how he pole vaults. He gives you an interesting story, and then you just moved right on.
Well, I might have asked him to elaborate on that, so go ahead, Billy.
Well, I mean, that's the gist of it.
You missed the pads.
Yeah, I wasn't running fast enough, so I went upside down, and then I heard someone scream, and I was like, "Oh, that's not a good sound when you're upside down in the air and someone screams." So then,
before you,
I knew something bad was coming.
So wait. You knew before the scream. You knew before she did that something bad was coming.
Well, I heard the scream, and I was like, "Uh-oh!" And instinctually, somehow, look, if you can see the pads here, so that box there is metal. Or at least the one I was using was metal. So I hear the scream, and I was like, that's not what you're supposed to hear if you're doing this right. So I instinctually somehow spread my legs, and caught the two side pads
No,
on
like
my
a
way
split?
down. I like opened them up to slow myself down. I don't know how I thought to do that. And it did slow me down, but I still hit the box. I completely destroyed my shoulder at the time. I don't think I dislocated it. Like, it was a really bad sprain. To this day, I still have clicks when I rotate it like this because I had physical therapy and I couldn't do it. And at the time, and this is like the bad part, I couldn't drive because my car was a manual car and I did this to my right arm. So I couldn't even drive with my left hand. I'd have to use my right hand to like switch the gears into place. So I just very quietly, because I was embarrassed by this, sat in my car and adjusted my seat till it was in a laying position so no one could see me embarrassed sitting in my car as I waited for a family member to come and pick me up and take me to the hospital.
That sounds terrible. I was watching this whole pole vaulting competition yesterday, Billy, and do they bring their own poles?
Yeah, you have to take your own pole.
How do you travel with a pole vault pole?
I used to put it through the middle window in F-250. So I would have it go out the back, and then I'd have it like go very dangerously, like lay on the dashboard and then go out the back window.
I guess I mean on a plane.
Yeah.
On a plane, I would assume you check it. There's no way that fits.
Does it have a case?
You would assume that you
Does
would
it have a case? Does it have like you would carry a billiard stick? Like you'd show up at the vault and you've got a bigger bag or cooler bag than others? Forgive me. I have a lot of questions as well. I was making fun of Jess and Greg for throwing you questions, but this story. Yeah. How is it possible that we have spent nearly 20 years doing this, 20 years in September, and that's the first time that we're hearing that story? We've been coming to you for pole vaulting information for 2 decades and never gotten that story.
Well, you guys didn't care about pole vaulting. I knew it. I just kept the show moving along. By the way, Bob Graham, former Florida governor, not Billy. He was an evangelist. So
yeah, that was a strong work by you, Lawton Childs. You make fun of Billy Corbin. You're our less politically adept Billy.
Okay, I'll own that. I don't care.
Lawton, you mentioned Lawton Childs. I want to get back to what Stugotz.
You want to know how you travel with the pole?
Yes.
So like they have containers that you can use. You can also get like giant we stored them in like the backs of trucks, which is not how you should be taking care of your poles, but like it's not, right in the world. Or you could get like a giant PVC pipe or something that you put it in, and then there's like a travel case that you get and you put it in, and then there's different poles. You can use different poles for different heights if you want to. The poles themselves are made of different material. They also have like a different level of flex, so some could be stiffer than others. It's like a personal preference.
Interesting. So Dan,
they're also scaled for like weights, so like you could do your weight. At the time when I did it in high school, you had to be under the weight of the pole. So like the pole was calibrated for like, let's say 150 pounds. You had to be under 150 pounds or that was the situation. So one time I was there, I had to take off my Under Armour long sleeve that I had under my tracksuit because I was overweight slightly. And then I had to go do a couple laps. Then I reweighed myself. Boom. I was good for the state championship because I got underweight again.
It's like luggage at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
Has there ever been an obese pole vaulter?
It's common.
What kind of question is that?
No, just because I associate pole vaulting. He just mentioned the weight. I associate pole vaulting with, slender people. And I'm just wondering if there's ever been a really fat pole vaulter. Here's my other question. How often do you get to the apex and then fall backward?
That happens too. And I think it happened at the Olympics and someone fell and banged their head on the track.
I imagine so, because that's you're 20 feet in the air and all of a sudden you're falling backward. That's terrifying.
I got to tell you, when I got into it, and no one cares about any of this, so we'll keep it brief. When I got into it, it was a crazy time in pole vaulting where people were dying regularly. Like they then had to change the size of the pads because it was almost like we were using 2 high jump pads next to each other, and then people were going off the back. They were banging their head. There was helmets that were being used for a time. I wanted to get a helmet because I didn't want to die. I was a young boy, and then my coach told me you don't actually get high enough to injure yourself if you fall on your head, so you don't really need a helmet.
Since 1980, 20 people have died.
I'm telling you, of those crazy 20 people, probably 16 were, I want to say, in the year 2002.
Billy, I believe that we may be the only national sports show airing today with a former D1 pole vaulter on it. So I'm so glad that you're here to answer all of our questions about Mondo. Specifically, has there ever been an obese pole vaulter?
Correct.
But Really, I find this fascinating. I think the best part of the Olympics is when there's like some kind of niche sport or like something that we don't listen to or watch really, and then it goes viral because someone does something crazy in it. And this guy, so like, Billy, correct me if I'm wrong. After you win the gold, you get 3 chances to try to go for a world record. Is that how that works?
No, he won. So like, he won the meet. Was my understanding of what happened. He won the meet, so he's the only one that was left in it. So like, when you're the only one left, you can just choose whatever height you want to jump at. And he could have kept going, honestly, because like he's not eliminated until he fails 3 times. So like he could have gone for another world record had he wanted to. Which when I was watching, I'm like, why don't you try to go like 2 or 3 inches higher and just keep raising the bar, literally.
There has not been somehow nearly enough Greg Cody in this first segment, and at once,
did he find a fat pole vaulter?
Way too much Greg Cody as well in this first segment. But he has just turned his computer to me with a single Google image of a obese person holding a pole vault, and that is his contributions to the segment, as well as volunteering to decide on behalf of all America who should be American.
When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. As Metalwork Media continues to grow as a content studio, we strive to hire only the best and most qualified candidates. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, they've made it easy for us to find them. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So, if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/prep. That's linkedin.com/prep. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Don Le Batard.
I miss crank windows. Too many unnecessary conveniences now. Cruise control. Please, I've got cruise control built in. It's called my right foot. It controls how fast the car goes. No button or steering wheel lever needed. Power steering. There's another one. Why do I want to give my power to the car? The power that I once had. The car is a ton of metal. I'm a damn college graduate.
Stugotz.
Bluetooth, HD radio, satellite. I'll take AM, please, with Wolfman Jack talking through the static, and I'll crank the windows down so everybody can hear. I'm Greg Cody, and that's how it was back in my day.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Juju, can you put it on the poll, please? Has there ever been an obese pole vaulter? And also, can you put on the poll, did you miss the great plague of 2002 pole vaulting deaths? Because Billy is saying most of those deaths took place all in 1 year. And really, he was a hero athlete here locally. He is an FIU legend, I would say. One of the most famous graduates FIU has ever had. And today he returns home. I'm worried about this for a number of different reasons. Our technology has not been great, but you are going to celebrate with your school as a proud alum and a distinguished alum. And what are we allowed to tell the people about what may or may not happen there? What's being announced, and what is it that might, what treasure chest might our audience get from this announcement?
Oh, well, what was put out yesterday was just a press release that at 11 o'clock today, there's going to be an announcement at FIU announcing a partnership between them and Pitbull. So then we were discussing, should we cover this live? And a lot of things have been going wrong behind the scenes. So I assumed we were not doing this. I, in fact, just told Danny I don't think we're doing this today. But we are doing this?
I don't know. I'd like to do it. Roy, what were you laughing about back there?
Jessica had sang a lyric from a song that starts with the letter C. I don't know if I can actually say it. Yeah, okay. She said it's
Why couldn't you say it? The C word? Like, what is that?
No, not that one.
I don't know the rules about that one.
What are we doing with this? Is Danny now canceling our plans to get Pitbull?
Well, I think Billy canceled the plans.
Well, no, I mean, sometimes you have to be the responsible person in the room. We have a number of guests lined up. We have weekend observations to get to. We have liners to be ready. We have lots of things. Greg's in studio. I don't know how
Don't
polite
forget Game
it is.
Time. Game Time's a big one.
Oh, yeah, big one.
Did you mention Game Time?
I did. I love Game Time. In fact, now that Pitbull's there, I keep getting IG-targeted ads for FIU football, and those prices seem nice, but I could probably get a better price on the Game Time app. That's right, folks. It's the best place for the secondary ticket marketplace because of their low price guarantee. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account and use code Dan. Maybe you want to go to the Cage and watch a football game.
Ooh.
Believe it or not, that's the first time I met my now wife publicly. We met at an FIU Bethune-Cookman game. If only I had those tickets on Game Time, it might have been even more affordable for me. Use code Dan for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you, Game Time, and thank you, Pitbull.
There is a lot going on today, and we're having technical difficulties. Now being reported that Tim Walz is the vice presidential candidate selected by Kamala Harris. Pablo Torre will be here in a few minutes to discuss that and some other things. But Greg Cody keeps moving this computer, and I've asked him to keep it in front of me because what he didn't reveal to me, while it is that he was pushing in front of me a photo of a clearly very heavy man pole vaulting, is that is premium photo, extremely obese man pole vaulting, ultra stock photos, AI generated art.
Of course.
And so it's not real. And Greg Cody's contribution to the segment was to find a fake fat pole vaulter after calling a gold medalist from Louisiana a fake Swede.
Right.
Those have been your contributions to the show today.
So far, it's early.
It also appears to be a javelin. It's up for debate.
No, it says, well, it may be of javelin, but it does the words say pole vaulting. He just Googled obese pole vaulter, and what came back is the internet gave him somebody who generated a fat pole vaulter who's not real.
Billy, if I may, do the Anfield athletes feel like they get like the shine of the track athletes overshadows them? Because I feel like the Anfield athletes are having a hell of an Olympics between shot putting, discus, triple jump. I'm just, it's been
hammer throw too.
Oh, the hammer throw.
So satisfying.
It's not the most glamorous of events, I would say, the Anfield crew. And also, like, I don't know how much of you watched yesterday. It's a very long event to watch. Like, it can last for hours, especially when you have, like, disparities in talent where you have someone that can barely clear the opening bar and then someone setting a world record. Like, you can go on for 4 hours in one of these competitions. It's very long.
They said yesterday it was over 3 hours between the start of the pole vaulting and like the final jump. And there was also an athlete doing high jump the other day. Apparently, they go in like these little sleeping bags in between their jumps. Did you see this? This Ukrainian woman, she ended up getting the gold medal. She like climbed into a little sleeping bag in between her jumps because I guess there can be a really long wait in between jumps and they want to keep their limbs warm. It's very cute.
A sleeping bag.
Yeah, like a little Coleman sleeping bag.
She can't stay awake?
No.
The next event?
To warm her legs. I mean,
you only have her sleeping in it. You don't have her warming
bag.
in it. Okay, so you have it.
What else do you do?
So you have it having no other uses.
Right.
Like so a sleeping bag isn't a warm bag. It's called, so you either sleep in it or get the hell out.
Yeah.
But this is the Olympics. Can we do better than having the contestants bring their own sleeping bags? What are we doing?
It's ridiculous.
Like, figure it out. Figure out something, a place where they can keep their legs warm.
Right.
I made it a game show. It's weird.
Game show.
The
Right. Have them
feud.
build a Motel 6 right next to the arena and have them get a room of their own. Sleeping bag. What weighs more, a shot put ball or a discus?
This is a great way to cover the Olympics. Greg Cody just wandering in, telling us who's an American and who's not, and then just asking remedial questions about details from the Olympics, and then criticizing the people who don't perform as well as he would like them to perform. Has the Sin claimed any other people with E. coli? Is this still a burgeoning controversy?
Yes, it has. Also, the shot put is 16 pounds and the discus is 4.4 pounds. So the shot put is 4 times the weight, according to Google.
It's 16 pounds?
That's what it said when I just Googled it. It's pretty heavy.
You know what?
I
had it being lights. I mean,
well, I didn't know it weighed that much. I use to give everyone perspective, I use a 14-pound bowling ball. And the idea that I could throw my bowling ball more than 10 feet.
That does give everyone perspective.
Ridiculous.
It does. It makes them understand that people who are shot putting have to be strong to throw something that's heavy. And that concludes our Olympic coverage for the day.
Have you closed the categories for the Cody Olympics yet? Because now I'm thinking maybe you do the bowling ball shot put.
You know what?
Oh, wow.
I am going to write that down.
He's going to write it down. Look at him, working hard.
That's going to be the second best event that we've ever had. Bowling ball shot put. That's
While
great.
we're at it then, and this is what he's dying for, it's the only reason he's here, we're not likely to get his attention the rest of the show. The Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody is featuring an Olympics between him and his son, and I assume the best event is there. The very best event in the history of father-son Olympics, I'm assuming we can find on the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody.
For sure. The last one we did was, and this is a first for the medium. This is a first in the history of podcasts. We went towing with a 57-year-old die. Okay, we
What
were
is
barefoot.
towing?
We grabbed a small die. I call it dice. It's one dice. I still call it a dice. Officially, it's a die. We grasp in our bare foot, in our toe, the great toe.
With your talon, with your rotten talons that Stugotz has clipped the great toenail twice off of. Your giant talon, you're rolling die with your feet.
We're not rolling it, we're throwing it. We're whipping our foot and propelling the die down the street on my block. We have video of it to prove we did it. I'm not going to say who won. You got to listen to our podcast. But towing with a 57-year-old die, a family heirloom. If I ever get this Greg Cody Hall of Fame off the ground, you know that die is going to be in a lucite square case like they have for, gold medals and, Hall of Fame baseballs and such.
I'm surprised the die didn't get stuck under your big toe, your big talon.
Well, and here's the thing. It's one of those small die. It's not the big die.
How do you feel about the die that are like 6-sided or 8-sided that they have now?
Oh, yeah, we don't know.
I guess
we
the
don't.
9-sided one. Yeah.
No. That's, to me, that's an aberration.
Like categories?
Yeah, it was a hexagon or something.
Yeah.
We like the classic die.
Yeah.
The square die.
1 through 6.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised how far you can whip the leg and throw the die. The key is you don't want to whip the leg too hard that the die falls out of your toe before expelling.
Can you please explain to me whether there is anything about these 1957 die that if I were holding them in my hand, I wouldn't say that they're 2023 die? Like you say they're a family heirloom, you're throwing them down the street. Do die look?
They have to be yellow.
Do they look different from 1957?
That's an excellent question. And there's a photograph of me holding the die, and it is way yellow. Keep in mind, this die was white when I got the game delivered to me in 1968, the spring of 1968. And 56 or whatever years later, it's yellow.
Yeah.
Like the color of unbrushed teeth.
Yeah. Like the color of unbrushed teeth.
Right.
Good way to paint a picture.
Yeah, look at the photo. I put the photo on Twitter. Somebody get that.
Look at that. I love the way he does his job. He just
Somebody get that.
I'll get it.
Look, just understand, okay? Understand that when Greg Cody walked in today, there are so many things to talk about, and I asked him what it is that he wanted to talk about, and all he said was me.
Yeah.
Just me, maximum. I want to talk about my podcast. I want to talk about a book that I'm publishing. They look orange. They don't look like the color of unbrushed teeth.
Okay.
They look like orange dye, and basically what you're describing is a game of a rotten foot throws rotten die. Which is older? Which is older and more rotten? Greg Cody's dice from 1957 or Greg Cody's feet from 1957?
No, 1967. It's a 57-year-old die. That die used to be white, bone white, and now it's yellow, or as you call it, orange.
Rotten.
If this is a quote-unquote family heirloom, shouldn't you treat this with a little bit more respect?
We considered that, Roy.
Consider that.
That's another beautiful question.
We're in his wheelhouse. He wanted so badly to come in here and just talk about himself today, to be the center of the Olympics. He misses it. He was the center of the Stanley Cup final. He misses not being at the center of things.
Well, I have a question for you, Greg, in regards to the Olympics and what we were talking about, sleeping bags. Why don't you guys have a sleeping bag competition where you just maybe take a nap between you and Christopher.
Yeah.
Also, a follow-up question. How do you feel about the advancements in sleeping bags? I don't know if you've seen them, but they have sleeping bags now that'll go all the way around your head.
Yeah.
You can almost wear like a hoodie. Like, how do you feel about those?
Yeah, the nickname for that is the suffocator. I'm not a fan of sleeping bags. I'm not a fan of tents. No. No. If I'm forced to sleep outdoor, it's going to be au naturel. And I don't mean nude. I mean, I'm going to sleep on the ground. I'm not going to lay on a mat. I just don't believe in that.
You're not going to use a tent? I mean,
maybe I'm claustrophobic.
What if it's raining?
You know what? Maybe I'm claustrophobic because I just don't like the idea of being zipped up in a sleeping bag. What if the zipper breaks? Then all of a sudden you're squirming around in a sleeping bag. You can't get out. They're thick enough where you really can't rip through them. So you're in a real pickle there. You know.
I've never understood that expression.
What's that?
Is the pickle the game of pickle? Is it if you're in a real pickle, is where it is that you're stuck in a game, the game of pickle, where someone throws a baseball, two people are throwing a baseball, the game of pickle. You're trying not to get tagged, and that's the game. Where does that expression come from? Getting in a real pickle?
I don't know.
Nobody knows?
Well, I mean, in this situation, if he's trapped inside a sleeping bag, it would be as traumatic as being trapped inside a pickle, I would think.
It would be.
Yeah.
You know, I just can't. And the idea of a sleeping bag that goes over your head, what's the point of that?
Should we
you
just
can't
call
see
it
a bear rumbling toward you like Ron McGill with a buffalo marauding right through his tent. I don't want to do that. I'm in a sleeping bag. You can't even see the buffalo.
The origin is apparently from William Shakespeare's The Tempest, but that's just the first result, and we got an AI-generated dude holding a javelin the last time we did that, so let me keep digging.
I wish that Stugotz had said that. I wish Stugotz.
When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. As Meadowlark Media continues to grow as a content studio, we strive to hire only the best and most qualified candidates. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, they have made it easy for us to find them. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So, if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/prep. That's linkedin.com/prep. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. A lot has changed over the years, audience, as you've been so kind in pointing out. My shirt size has changed over the years. Look, I started this show as a 19-year-old boy, and now I'm a 38-year-old dad. But along the way, one staple of my life has been Miller Lite, and those of you that have been listening to us know this. I've been a Miller Lite guy since day one. I've been pretty honest about that. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What is the best thing about the original light beer Miller Lite? It sparked this debate way back in 1975, and we still haven't settled it. For me, it's the undebatable quality. It's great taste, and it's less filling. Whether you're out with your friends, at a game, at a bar, in the shower, Miller Lite delivers Miller time every time. You don't have to choose what's best about Miller Lite. It has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
Scott said that off the top of his head.